Calciopoli fans, welcome back to this new edition of our AC Milan Talk. Today we're going to be discussing everything about the Rossonero world, from the last league game to the next one on the schedule, to the women's team, and to also the under-19. Of course, I'm not alone. Sheridan Bird and Adriano Del Monte. Welcome back.
Hi, Giusy. Hi, everybody. Great to see you.
We're ready,
Hello,
Adriano.
guys. Great to be with you.
So let's begin, and we have a lot to discuss today. Of course, let's start by saying that the 33rd match day of the season just ended. AC Milan drew against Cremonese. Same thing done from AS Roma. Juventus won, same as Lazio. We have to say that we need to congratulate Napoli on winning the Scudetto after the game against Udinese. Sheridan, let's take a step back to what happened against Cremonese for Armando.
Well, it was always going to be a tough game. Cremonese are a team that are desperate for points, and their cup run, they reached the semi-finals of the Coppa Italia, demonstrated their quality. So anyone that thought it would be simple for Milan at San Siro against Cremonese was wrong. This was the what we thought was the goal from Salemakers, but it was chalked off for offside, and Mr. Pioli made lots of changes as well, because it's the time of the season in which you have to rotate, you have to use the entire squad. Charles De Ketelaere came close to scoring there, but it was good work by Carnesecchi in goal for Cremonese. It was a frustrating match, Juicy. Result didn't go the way that the fans and Milan wanted, but it was just one of those matches where to get a point meant something, because Cremonese nearly won it at the end, nearly stole it. So Milan, if anything, showed great character to come back and to grab a point.
Right, at this point of the season, 3 points are crucial. Adriano, what did you think about the game?
Of course, a crucial 3 points missed in the end, but I think in the form that Milan came back and obviously getting that late equaliser can be viewed as a crucial point. We know how tight it is in that top four race. Every point does count. And as Sheridan did say, of course, Cremonese with their own battle on their own hands down the other end of the table. So, look, yes, very disappointing here. The Cremonese goal that put them ahead in the second half there, but it's a credit to the players. Obviously, a couple of changes in the second half, as Sheridan did say correctly as well. Obviously, there were a number of changes before the start of this match with, well, one eye on the fixtures to come. So, I think an important point, but given the beauty of this part of the season, a couple of days to respond. Obviously, a big match against Lazio to come.
Right. Also, we have to say that in view of the many matches that are awaiting men, there was a turnover against Cremonese. And Adriano, what do you think was missing?
Well, look, obviously what was missing were the goals. And we have seen the fact that we know that Milan's strengths in the strongest 11, no doubt, comes in the likes of Rafael Leao from the opening minutes, Brahim Diaz at his best. And unfortunately, those attacking changes, there was some promising moments we saw in the highlights moments ago, but just that finishing touch was ultimately lacking. And, well, despite a large bulk of possession on the night, that goal just did not come. And obviously one ruled out due to the VAR, but ultimately the goal to get Milan ahead early on wasn't there. So look, it's something for Mr. Pioli to work on in this final month of the season, because we know that ultimately those clubs that do succeed are those clubs with really strong depth and depth in attack. We need to see multiple avenues to goal. There's some big tests come this month, some really decisive tests as well. So look, in the end, it was still a performance to take some positives out of, but those goals are going to be the telling factor in May.
Right, Sheridan, let me ask you the same question to get your opinion on the topic. What do you think was missing?
I think we've always mentioned that the Milan squad is a developing squad. Now, there are some exceptions, some more seasoned players, some more senior players or older players in the most polite sense of the word, but there are still some people who are just coming through first season at the team, and when the regulars are rested, occasionally it's notable, perhaps more so than other teams who have stronger squads. Now, obviously, Mr. Pioli and the directors at the club are building a squad that they want to be able to have lots of very strong options, but occasionally in matches, no matter how hard the team tries, or those players who don't always start every match, no matter how hard they try, they can't find the net. And it was just one of those matches in which it was a point was actually a really good, something good to take away from it if you look at the scoreline towards the end of the match when Cremonese took the lead.
Right. Also, our coach Stefano Pioli analyzed the whole game and the wasted situation. So let's go listen to his words in his usual post-match interview.
È un risultato deludente, assolutamente. Non è quello che volevamo, non è quello che cercavamo. Un peccato perché insomma stiamo buttando via delle situazioni che ci dovevano vedere più attenti, più determinati, e secondo me dopo un buonissimo primo tempo, dove poi ci è mancato il guizzo finale, nel secondo tempo abbiamo perso un po' di distanza, ci siamo allungati, ci siamo innervositi e non abbiamo più giocato da squadra, quindi dopo è diventata più difficile. È evidente nella fase realizzativa, perché credo che siamo arrivati vicino alla loro area tantissime volte, anche dentro l'area, e poi dopo o per imprecisione o per poca lucidità o per poca determinazione non riusciamo a andare in vantaggio in partite dove c'era la possibilità di andare in vantaggio, e dopo poi si è complicata e abbiamo fatto più fatica.
These were the words of our coach Stefano Pioli. His exact words, a wasted result. Adriano, what do you think about what he had to say about it?
Well, I think he echoes the thoughts that we just had, basically. At the end of the day, if you don't take your chances, you are at the likelihood of dropping points, and they may be an important couple of points, but again, as I said, I think the important factor here, it was a goal scored late on, there was a point salvaged in the end, and now a couple of days to bounce back and turn around before obviously a big week of Champions League football. So yes, he'll be disappointed, yes, the players will certainly be disappointed, but still plenty of important football to be played.
Sheridan.
Yeah, I agree. You have to take your chances when they present themselves. As we say in England, you have to finish your dinner. And Milan made some great chances, but the header from Brahim Diaz, which went over the bar, was a frustrating one. But Brahim Diaz is not known for his aerial prowess, so it's just one of those things. You just have to try and take the positives from it. And also, as Mr. Pioli said, maybe a lack of mental clarity, because there are so many really important matches coming up, and we often forget that the players are humans, and it's sometimes when there's a lot to focus on, a lot to concentrate, matches coming thick and fast. April and May are going to be, or April has been, and May will be, so important for the players and for Mr. Pioli's squad, that occasionally there's so much happening that there's a bit of a lack of mental freshness. But you can get that back with recuperation and with concentration.
All right, we're now going to be listening to the words of the one that was maybe the best one on the pitch, Alexis Salamakers.
Secondo me siamo entrati bene nella partita. Primo tempo avevamo l'atteggiamento giusto, la mentalità giusta, avevamo le occasioni, c'è la mia dove fuori gioco forse di un spalle, poi c'è anche altri, però penso che eravamo sulla strada giusta. Poi secondo tempo penso che abbiamo rilasciato un po' il tempo, il ritmo della partita, e dovevamo ancora andare di più forte, più veloce, e non l'abbiamo fatto, eppure abbiamo sbagliato delle occasioni chiare che dovevamo fare gol, e poi prendiamo questo gol che ci fa male, e poi corriamo dietro il risultato per prendere questo pareggio che comunque abbiamo fatto, e quindi è comunque una piccola nota positiva, però oggi questo punto è come una sconfitta per noi. L'atteggiamento, la mentalità di killer davanti alla porta è questo che non abbiamo avuto oggi, però comunque è buono che ci siamo creati queste occasioni, e per le prossime partite dobbiamo lavorare su questo istinto di killer che dobbiamo avere.
Let's comment on the very last part of his interview. He said actually that it's the killer instinct that lacked. Sheridan.
Yeah, you need that to basically take the chances, and on some occasions, some evenings, some afternoons, it's just not there. The players who are playing in attack might not be in great form, or they might have some physical problem that's holding them back, and yeah, without the killer instinct, you can't take the full 3 points. But very honest, very good interview from Salemakas, very impressive on the pitch, we know that, but also a very good communicator.
Adriano.
Yeah, I agree with Sheridan there. I was interviewing Salemakas after the Roma match, obviously the match last weekend where he was the scorer of that late equaliser, and his mentality and approach to the game, whether he starts, whether he comes from the bench, he's a really impressive player, and he showed that there again, very level-headed in addressing the issues of the team on the night, admitting that they are bitterly disappointed that a point is like a defeat. And look, he's a very passionate player, and I'm expecting to see him and the team respond. This was, of course, the late equaliser in this dramatic match at the Stadio Olimpico. I was right behind this goal as it went in, and as I said, speaking to him after the match, it was such an important goal that he scored in front of a very vocal Roma crowd, but he wasn't overawed with excitement, or he was still a little disappointed that they hadn't come away with maximum points. He knows what this team are capable of, and he's an emerging leader in this team. I really love the way he goes about his football. So really well spoken, really maturely said, and as I said, I do think we'll see a response from he and the team soon.
Also, we got the chance to take a look at the images from the last league game. We're talking about the one against Roma, in which Alexis Salemakas managed to score the very last minute. We will comment on it later, but also it was the chance for Fikayo Tomori for his 100th performance, actually, with the rossoneri jersey on. He was awarded in Milanello by Paolo Maldini and Frederic Massara, so let's take a look at the clip.
Ragazzi, siamo qua a festeggiare il nostro Fikayo per le sue 100 presenze nel Milan, siamo molto contenti, questo è il primo di tanti grandi traguardi che tu potrai ottenere con questa maglia rossonera. Bravo Fi!
Grazie a tutti, grazie. Grazie a tutti per la presenza con la Milan, e grazie a tutti voi e speriamo che finire questa stagione in modo giusto.
So in these images, we saw Fikayo Tomori being awarded, and we have to say that in the last 2 years, he has proved himself to be crucial for the team of Stefano Pioli. Sheridan.
It's a wonderful success story. It's just so fantastic. He's done so well. He's settled into Italy, the country, the culture. He loves Milan, the city, and he's become a really important player in the Milan defence. And don't forget, this is a team, this is a club that has had superstars in defence, Franco Baresi, Paolo Maldini, Alessandro Nesta. So it's just a wonderful thing to see. And since joining, he's really made an impression on and off the pitch. People love him. He's very down to earth, very humble, and we're looking at now some of his best challenges. Such an athletic, quick player, and he's very young, but at times this season, when Simon Kjær has been injured, he has been the leader of that defence, and his progress has been quick. I think we expected it to be fast because he's an intelligent young player, but I don't think anyone expected him to make such an impact so quickly. Look at that challenge there, so clean as a whistle, that challenge, straight back onto his feet. It's just a class performer on and off the turf.
Adriano, clean as a whistle.
Very clean as a whistle, Juicy. Exactly what I was going to say. Look, Fikayo is modest, he's humble, and he's always willing to learn is what really strikes me about this young man. A very impressive individual. I love the fact how quickly he's picked up the language. It just shows the credit and the character of the individual. So someone who's really bought into the culture and the rich history of this club, and to see him bring up 100 appearances and 100 very important appearances as well, it's a wonderful story, and hopefully only the beginning of this story as well. A long way to go. I know he's very hungry to win a lot more. So look, he's someone who has emerged as a leader. I do agree with that, and I think he can go on to become a very important player for a very long time for this club.
The other thing I wanted to ask Giusy was that we saw the lovely medal that he received at the training centre for 100 appearances. After the 100th AC Milan talk, will you give Adriano and I a wonderful medal?
Well, if you
Please.
deserve it, we are number 15 now.
There's a long way to go,
It's
yeah.
a long
Okay,
way
I
to
understand.
go.
You've got time to save up your money and buy 2 medals.
Right, nice medal for you guys. Now let's jump to what is going to be the direct clash against Lazio next Saturday, Sheridan.
It's a huge match. It's such an important match because it's coming, obviously, before the Champions League. So it's important to have really big matches, I think, because it actually allows you to focus. When you have matches against teams that are quality, and Lazio under Maurizio Sarri have been perhaps the revelation of the season.
Right.
Some might say Napoli as well, obviously, but Lazio have been one of the teams of the season. So it means that Milan will have to be 100%. It's a big decision for Mr. Pioli if he wants to rotate or if he wants to use some turnover in the squad, but he has to get it right. He has to get the blend right, and that's why, you know, we trust that he'll be able to do that. But it's just a huge match. But the truth is, if you're playing big matches towards May, it means that the season is going well, and you want to be in that situation. You don't want to be playing matches that mean nothing, because that means that the campaign has been unsatisfactory.
Yeah, right, Adriano, we're under the heaviest pressure. It's a big crossroad, right?
This is a huge match. It's a huge weekend. The top 4 race, everything. We know what's on the line here. So this is as big as it gets. And this week, obviously, with the Champions League to come, it is massive. Sheridan said Lazio have been one of the stories of the season in Italy. No doubt about that. But these are the matches that this Milan team simply must be winning at home against an opponent that's done very well. So, look, I think the team selection midweek against Cremonese does appear to look like Mr. Pioli could go with a stronger lineup for this match, viewing it as a direct clash for top 4. So yes, a full focus on the top 4 race, but also, of course, one final warm-up before that first leg of the Champions League semi-finals. So a lot to play for, but this 90 minutes, the first 90 minutes to really focus on, of course, Saturday afternoon kickoff, a full San Siro expected again, and as important 3 points as Milan have played for all campaign.
Right, and also, Sheridan, is there something in particular that scares you the most about how Maurizio Sarri can build the game?
You know, I say it every week, but it's just the whole team, and they have some standout players, but Mr. Sarri himself has rotated some of his star players and put them on the bench, giving them a break. So whichever team Mr. Sarri selects will be a tough team, a tough nut to crack for Milan, and he's certainly got Lazio playing in a way that he wants, and that is proving successful. So it doesn't matter what 11 he selects, it will be a really, really tough match, and Milan will have to be completely focused.
Of course, now that we've discussed everything about the first team, let's jump into the off-the-pitch activities. We have to say that part of the team, along with Calabria and Origi, and also with Thomas and Bergamaschi from the women's team, along with the CEO, Giorgio Furlani, actually were accompanied on Thursday at the inauguration of the new Fondazione Milan Sports Center in Gratosoglio district. We have a beautiful clip to show you, and we can all comment about it later.
Il Comune di Milano in questa sede ringrazia ovviamente Milan e Off-White per aver restituito uno spazio come questo in un quartiere particolarmente bisognoso di spazi dove fare sport. Non è banale avere qui i campioni di calcio maschile e femminile che inaugurino un campetto con voi. Trattate questo campo come il regalo più bello che avete trovato sotto l'albero di Natale, perché vi assicuro che non vi torna. Promesso? Sì! Grandi, forza! Milan!
Il territorio milanese è assolutamente centrale per noi. Abbiamo fatto 72 progetti nel territorio milanese e dintorni. Spero che questo spazio per voi ragazzi sia un luogo di divertimento, dove farete amicizie, dove passerete delle belle giornate e per chi non lo è, dove diventerete tifosi milanisti.
Anche io come loro ho iniziato a muovere i miei primi calci in un oratorio. Non avevo la fortuna di avere queste strutture qui che hanno a disposizione oggi questi fantastici bambini e bambine, ragazzi e ragazzi, e credo che siano delle strutture fantastiche che possono invogliare a giocare a calcio, a divertirsi, perché lo sport è unione, amicizia, passione, gioia.
Tutti hanno il diritto di fare lo sport. Penso che il sport può aiutare tantissimo, che il sport può essere la scuola della vita.
I think it's everything. I think being able to give back to the community, it shows your heart, it shows that football is a sport that brings everyone together.
Io ho passato parecchio, ho vissuto 2 anni qui. Mi raccomando, l'unica cosa che posso dirvi è educazione e rispetto reciproco, perché è la cosa più importante secondo me.
As Divock Origi said, soccer is actually union, and this is a beautiful thing that we just got to see from Fondazione Milan along with Off-White, a special, actually a positive change in society that they want to promote. Adriano.
It's a busy time for the club on the pitch and always doing wonderful things off it, leading the way as always, and great to see some players from the men's team, the women's team, and the CEO down there as well, just giving back and spending some time. They're the sorts of scenes that really bring it back down to earth, because as Calabria did touch on, he used to live there, he was once there, he was once in their shoes, and it's just very special to bring that connection with such a big club like Milan right back down to the community.
Sheridan.
It's a wonderful thing to see, wonderful memories for those youngsters as well, to see their heroes, to see the men's team captain Davide Calabria, our friend Berga, Valentina Bergamaschi, the women's captain, was there as well, and it's just great to get close to your heroes and do something for the community, so really another wonderful venture.
All right, now we've discussed also everything about the off-the-pitch activities. Let's jump into the world of our AC Milan women. A beautiful result for our women, a 3-3 draw against Juventus. Sheridan.
It was a wonderful match. They played ever so well, and it was a tough match. It didn't start too well. I'm sure we'll see the images very soon, but they really showed character. They've had a really good season against Juventus this year, Milan. In 4 matches, they've won 2. They lost 1, unfortunately, but they drew this last one. So 2 victories against Juventus, who were champions until the weekend, because the Bianconere lost their crown to AS Roma. But they're still a very, very good team who have dominated women's Serie A in recent years. So to come back from going a goal down so early against Juventus to drawing the match 3-3 was a really positive result, and the women are ending the season on a high.
Congratulations to AS Roma for becoming champions of Italy. And Adriano, let's comment with you too about this exciting game.
Well, as we have touched on in recent weeks, they have pushed Juventus in all of the matches this season, as Sheridan did just touch on. So 3-3 can be viewed in some different ways, obviously going behind, but then fighting back. And again, I just come back to the fact that this is a Juventus team, a squad, and a group of players that have competed in the Women's Champions League against some of the very best teams in the world. So this has to give the Rossoneri here, the women, a big, big boost of confidence going into these final rounds of the season, but going into next season as well, because going behind against an opponent in this fashion like Juventus, but fighting back and taking away a point is a valuable lesson. And we say it before, but we'll continually say it, because this is a Milan team now who do pick up an important point in their race now to finish 3rd. Unfortunately, Champions League football is not an option for next season, given the point that Juventus picked up in this match, but look, so much still to be gained from these remaining fixtures. And overall, Sheridan, I'm sure you agree, but this changed format in the women's football this season, these last rounds, playing against the other top teams, I think it really benefits the girls going into the end of the season, looking into next.
Yes, it's very exciting, and it guarantees quality matches, quality confrontations, and it just it means that there are no matches that don't mean anything. There is something riding on every fixture. That was the goal to make it 3-2 to the Bianconere when, as we say, Milan had gone 2 goals down, 2-0 down at the beginning of the match. And then right at the end, to save the day, Chantal Dompig with her first goal for Milan, scoring a last-minute equaliser against Juventus. What a time to pop up with her first goal. Played back in by Annick Nowen here. Look at this, very calm under pressure, hooked it back in. Dompig with 2 players in front of her. She got her forehead on the ball. She scored the equaliser, and it was ecstasy, celebrations on the touchlines. A really good afternoon's work.
Also, next match on the schedule, the one against Fiorentina.
Just keep it going, I would say, to the ladies. They're playing so well. They're really closing the season with style. The goals are coming. Perhaps try and be a bit more watertight in defence, because you don't want to concede 2+ goals every match. But Milan have already beaten Fiorentina in the Women's Coppa Italia, so there doesn't need to be any fear there. They know what to do against the side from Tuscany. So let's just hope for another really stirring performance from Mr. Gantz's side.
Also, during this week, 3 players of the AC Milan Women actually renewed their contract. We're talking about Guagni, Fedele, and Adami. Let's go listen to their words.
Azione.
Coccodrillo come fa?
Va bene? Scusa. Perfetto. Mi sento molto entusiasta perché venire qua al Milan all'inizio non è stato semplice per me, chi sa tutto il mio passato lo capisce, ma mi hanno accolto benissimo e rinnovare ancora un anno con il Milan è per me un'emozione veramente grande.
Sono molto contenta di poter continuare questo percorso in maglia rossonera. Penso di essere cresciuta in questi 2 anni e quindi spero di continuare a migliorarmi.
Sono contenta che la società creda ancora in me e spero appunto che i prossimi anni siano belli e si riesca a conquistare qualcosa.
Penso in questi anni comunque di essere cresciuta tanto, ovviamente, non solo di età ma anche di esperienza. E affronto le cose in maniera diversa, molto più matura, e questo è uno dei contributi che spero di riuscire a trasmettere alle nuove generazioni.
Sono grata comunque nel quotidiano agli allenamenti che svolgiamo, che aiutano giorno dopo giorno a farmi crescere sotto l'aspetto mentale, tattico e tecnico.
Diciamo, quando sono arrivata avevo un po' di sfiducia, diciamo, mi sentivo di dover trovare un qualcosa che ho trovato subito appena sono arrivata qua. E quindi già dall'inizio mi sono sentita parte della squadra e ho sentito la fiducia da parte di tutti. Poi c'è stata un po' un'altalenanza a un certo punto dei miei risultati e spero di trovare una continuità personale.
La mia ambizione è prima o poi di poter vestire la maglia da titolare del Milan, ovviamente lavorando giorno dopo giorno e prendendo anche spunto da chi ho davanti.
Soddisfatta no, perché non si è mai soddisfatti, cioè c'è sempre un nuovo anno dove si può fare di più, dove si può dare di più, e spero che sia appunto il prossimo.
Il mio momento più felice è stato il rientro dal crociato a gennaio contro la Lazio. Ho potuto rimettere piede in campo e per me è stato molto significativo.
Ricordo con particolare gioia il mio primo gol qua a Milano, il gol contro la Sampdoria, che poi ha portato anche alla vittoria della partita, che abbiamo vinto per 1-0, ed è stato un momento un po' di liberazione.
Ci sono stati momenti belli, ci sono stati momenti più difficili e ti direi la prima partita forse è stata molto emozionante e non pensavo di essere accolta così bene, quindi per me è stato veramente forte. Però ti direi la prossima? Bene, è stato bello, breve ma intenso.
Basta, grazie, arrivederci.
These were the words of our 3 players that just renewed their contracts. Adriano, what do you think about it?
Well, it's wonderful news, Jussi, and of course, long-term team success is built off the back of commitment and the group building together, but more importantly, staying together. And to renew 3 players, hopefully more to come, because this is a Milan team, as I said, who will end the season with plenty of confidence, and this confidence needs to be retained and taken in to next campaign, as of course they will aim for a top 2 finish and a return to the Women's Champions League. So great to see 3 names put pen to paper, obviously some very experienced players amongst them there. But look, it's an exciting next season ahead, but of course full focus on finishing off this season with these 3 players very strongly.
Adriano. Sheridan, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. To have Alia Guagni signing up and Greta Adami signing up as well is fantastic. Guagni, we haven't actually been able to watch her since she picked up an injury in the Coppa Italia against Roma, but she's a very important player. And this is a goal from Greta Adami, I believe. Well, it was a shot. There you go. It was a very good shot, though. It was an excellent save by the keeper, but another key player in midfield, Greta Adami. So it's good to keep your best players and to get them signed up and to build around them and build a future with them.
Now we've discussed everything about our AC Milan women. Let's jump into the world of our under-19. 2 beautiful games, 6 very important points. First, the 3 ones against Lecce, the first one in the table, the leader of the table actually, and also the one against Atalanta. Sheridan.
Yeah, to beat Lecce 3-1, who, as we see there, are runaway leaders at the top of the table. It was a really good result from Mr. Abate's youngsters, and they're finishing the season in such a strong manner. They're putting together some really good, effective performances. They're bringing their UEFA Youth League form to the domestic scene, which is so important. And you can see here, this is the match, the more recent match against Atalanta, in which Milan took the lead early on. This was a roller coaster, Juicy.
Right.
Milan went 1-0 up. Then, in the blink of an eye, in the first half, still in the first half, it suddenly went 2-1 to the players, to the team from Bergamo. And it looked like it was going to be a very important half-time team talk for Mr. Abate. This is the goal to make it 1-1 for Atalanta. But the team galvanised their efforts, and in the second half, got back in the game. We're just going to see the goal that gave Atalanta the lead, and it all came down the right. Milan was struggling down their left, Atalanta's right. And 1 or 2 of the Atalanta players on that flank were really impressive. Second half, though, Milan came out with a mission and equalised through Ugo Cuenca, who had a wonderful game. For me, he was perhaps man of the match. That's another chance to see Ugo Cuenca's glancing header. And this is right at the end, where a draw would have been a fine result. Cuenca teeing up El Hilali, and Younes El Hilali scoring the winner right at the end. The celebrations show it was a wild match, and it was just such a great celebration to see. Maybe it wasn't Younes El Hilali, forgive me. It was set up by Kevin Zeroli, and perhaps it was Diego Sia. But the most important thing is that it went into the net, and it was a really good performance. 2 wins in a short space of time. They brought the European form to the Primavera Campionato. They are aware of what a good team they are. The confidence is growing, and it's exciting for the future.
Also, we have to say it was a very hard-fought and exciting victory, the one against Atalanta. They believed until the very last minute, Adriano.
Absolutely, Jussi. And look, maybe earlier in the season, maybe this Milan team weren't experienced or confident enough to turn this around. But I certainly think off the back of their recent performances, and certainly given their very deep run in the UEFA Youth League, we've spoken about it on this show so many times, but that experience, absolutely priceless, invaluable for their development as young players and going forward into the senior ranks in the future. And it's a credit to Mr. Abate. They've had a tough time earlier in the campaign, but to pick up 6 very important points. Yes, they're in dramatic fashion against Atalanta, but also against the league leaders in Lecce. It's a phenomenal way to bring towards the end of the current season.
Now, direct clash against Napoli, another team that is trying to salvage themselves from the relegation zone. What do you think about it, Sheridan?
The boys just have to keep doing what they're doing. As I say, since the defeat, the unlucky defeat against Hajduk Split in the UEFA Youth League, they've been flying, and they just have to keep going. The attacking options are they've got fulsome attacking options. They're so good in attack, scoring goals from all kinds of angles, and they just have to keep going. And it was a 2-2 draw when the teams met earlier on in the season. Well, let's hope that that Milan score 2 goals but don't concede 2, because it was a slightly disjointed, at times error-strewn performance against Napoli. But this is a different Milan, and let's just keep going. Let's end the season on a real high.
Right, Adriano.
Absolutely, as Sheridan said, this is another opportunity to make amends for a performance earlier in the season, perhaps where the team weren't as confident in their ability, but I certainly think based off what we've seen recently, including the disappointing defeat but incredible run in the UEFA Youth League, I think we'll hopefully see many more goals like that in the final rounds of the season.
All right, we've talked about it all, from the first team to the women's team to the under-19. Thank you so much, Sheridan Bird.
My pleasure, Juicy. Nice to see you. Nice to speak to everyone.
Adriano Del Monte.
A lot of fun as always, guys. Thank you.
Right, we will see each other next time, not only after the game against Lazio, but also against the first leg of the semi-final of Champions League against Inter. So I will see you then. Ciao.